Welcome to Mana Drained, episode 0. Yes, this is our test episode to figure out how this shit is going to go down. I'm Mox Born again with Magic Vice. Sure, there you go. Magic Vice it is. So we really don't have too much of a game plan other than to talk about awesome Magic stuff.
Yeah,
cool and not like
recently,
So we're going to talk about the ProTour Origins that just released, or not released, just finished up this past weekend, and kind of go over some of the decks and some of the cards that we like. We'll probably talk about some of the decks that we're building and the fact that we're planning on going to the it's Columbus Star Cities game?
Yeah,
Star City games.
City game, qualifier.
So, yeah. That's fun. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Especially now that I've seen what Origins can do to Standard.
There was a lot of cards in Standard from Origin set. So I guess we'll just start. We'll just jump off there. Like, first off, what decks did you like going into the tournament?
Well, I've always been, focused on blue, and blue are like black decks, and that's realistically where I really liked. But when I saw some of the red cards, I was kind of excited to see what would happen with red. But I was following the TCG or Star City games. So they showed Origins before they did the Pro Tour stuff, and there were no red decks, and so it was kind of sad. But I took the opportunity and I bought a couple of the Exquisite Firecrafts and the Chandras. Which it's a good thing I did because
yeah,
that jumped up pretty quickly. I was able to get a playset of Exquisite Firecrafts, which I was planning on utilizing for Modern. I was gonna kind of make a what was the red god? Porphyros red deck. But Exquisite Firecraft, I mean, I got them for $2. Holy crap! And they're up to $8.92 now.
Yeah,
that's a heck of a jump.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. I don't know. I was looking the one website I've been kind of looking at, the MTG Goldfish. They do a huge number crunch on all these events, and like I was looking through, and like it's tied to the TCG Player website. So you click on the actual like link for the deck and find out how much it costs. If you go back like 6 days, it was like $100 deck.
Yeah.
Like to build the whole thing. And keep in mind, that's 21 mountains. That's no fetch lands. That's no like special tap lands or anything like that. It's just 21 mountains. So like right there, you can tell that it's all in the actual deck. It's like the creatures and the spells and shit. But now it takes somewhere close to $250 to $300 to build that deck, like outright. Like I was just like, geez.
That's like only a handful of cards that really changed the price, I bet.
I know, right?
The one thing I was sad about though, with the one that won, didn't have the new Chandra, and I really dig the new Chandra. I think she's awesome. I had kind of hoped that this, like when I started watching tournaments, I was like, okay, this is gonna be when she really starts making a break for it. But ultimately, it was her M15 version that really kind of held the show.
Mm-hmm.
When you have threats with red, I mean, you're basically kind of throwing cards away, and that's the thing I've kind of noticed with them. And they either have special abilities when they come out, they're not really doing much. You're just trying to kill with burn, and then ultimately wipe their field and then go for the throat. So Chandra doesn't necessarily always survive that long.
Right.
So I guess I can understand that aspect of it.
Well, I mean, and you got to think about too. If you're running burn, you're not really worried about counter magic or control. So like if you can't really protect her unless you've got these creatures on the ground that can stop. Or if you control the field with your burn. But then again, you're not burning your opponent, you're burning their creatures in hopes to ultimate her. Yeah. Which is an awesome ultimate, by the way. Super flavorful. I really enjoy the deal. Is it 2 or 3 damage?
The +1 is 2 damage to target player. The -2 is 2 damage to target creature. But the -7 is amazing. Deals 6 damage to each opponent, and each player dealt damage this way gets an emblem at the beginning of your upkeep. Deals 3 damage to you. So not only do you get dealt burn damage, you go to the burn ward and you're essentially tortured until you can either kill off your opponent because it's an emblem. You can't really get rid of it.
And And what's hilarious is like you've had to deal them damage before this, so obviously like they're not gonna be around for too many more turns. So like I don't know, just flipping her and doing the what you can with her +1, I think is all that it's gonna take.
For the most part, yeah. But I mean, we're still living in decks where you can have a Johnny Mentor of Heroes. Yeah, I think that's one.
Nick Fleece Ram, where you're gaining a shitload of life.
Yeah, those kind of decks. So, I mean, it's great, like constant damage. You're getting hit by a lightning bolt. But I mean, if you're playing the white green, I just call them super life gain crap. You can negate that damage.
Right.
But the one thing I was really surprised that the red deck wins wasn't playing too much of, especially the ones that weren't creature heavy. Like the aggro one won, so I can understand why it didn't have any of the Anger of the Gods.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see that card at all this weekend. I don't think.
Now that you mention it, I don't think I saw it.
Yeah. And the only other deck that I was kind of surprised I did not see was any kind of like mono white. I really thought that mono white, because there was a lot of hype on Gideon. I mean, Gideon really does a good job of protecting himself, and granted, he really just time walks, but he is kind of a cool thing. He opens up the door. He would be great in like some kind of like a fog style white weenie deck.
The
still secure the waste.
That angel too, the 3 white, 1 colorless angel that they can't attack unless they pay 2 or 1 or per creature, something like that. Like that would go good in white weenie devotion. But yeah, that's.
I love that we've been like a year, and we're soon getting out of it. But I mean, devotion's been everywhere.
Right, and that's kind of. And I'm kind of. And I never played in Zendikar, so I don't know too much about it, other than the cards that I currently play with in Modern. But that was a pretty like 1 or 2 color deck heavy. It wasn't multicolored quite like not Theros, Khans or Dragons.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, and the thing, like you're looking, like I was looking over the top, the top 5 decks, and they've got like 3 of the top 5 are devotion decks. I mean, that were played, not finishers. Yeah. So green red devotion, which really is green devotion. Like let's be honest, the only red in there is a Tarka. Like that's pretty much it, unless they made some minor changes to it. I know there's some red in the sideboard. Red mono red aggro is not necessarily devotion, but it's as much a devotion to red as you want to get.
I will say for the mono red aggro, the only card that I kind of wish I had bought were the abbots, but I know that once it cycles out, they're just going to drop down again, because while you get to be able to flip a card and be able to play it in the modern scene, that's not necessarily as it's valuable, but I mean,
I might consider it in my blister coil deck.
Would you? Well,
just because a lot of my cards are single mana.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
And the prowess is an awesome trigger on top of casting multiple spells. It sucks it doesn't have haste, which that would just be way overpowered if it had haste on top of being a 2/1 in prowess and flipping cards.
It actually probably would have done pretty good in my silence deck. Now I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The beginning of your upkeep, silence you. Counter that, silence you. Exquisite Firecraft is one of those cards that it's yeah, not quite ban level, because it's just a good card. It's well balanced. I mean, obviously you can't play it too early.
Right.
The mana cost is perfect. In fact, I think if they would have made it an instant instead, it probably would have pushed it just a little bit too far.
Well, there are ways around. Like, okay, so let's say in the modern scene, you utilize Snapcaster Mage, and then you flash back your Exquisite Firecraft.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the graveyard, so it counts for itself for spell mastery. So you could actually have an uncounterable spell relatively early on
in the game, yeah.
And that in itself kind of makes it a little bit more scary. Stoke the Flames, of course, is a really great red burn card. It always has been. So I wasn't surprised to see those. I was trying to think. Those Monastery Swift Spears only made a brief. I mean, they were there, but they didn't really do too much.
They were really just for blocking. I didn't see many big swings for lethal damage or anything like that with them. No. It was really just, I'm gonna turn 1, deal you 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turn 1, deal you 1. Turn 2, cast a spell, deal you 1. The other card that I'm wondering if it dropped out in response to the Swift Sphere is the Street Denizen guy, the Goblin, the
No,
one
I saw
drop.
him a couple of times.
He's not in the aggro. He's in the other one.
The Goblin one, yeah.
Yeah, I think because there was 2 different decks that were really not really completely different, but they were running a different set of creatures, and the mono red aggro one wasn't running him for some reason, which he did a ton of damage last Pro Tour. Because red deck wins they won the last one too, didn't they? I'm almost positive
Asban,
they did.
I thought.
Oh, was it Asban?
Yeah, Asban. It was either control or tokens. I can't remember which, but.
But yeah, so mono red is pretty disgusting. Which after Zendikar comes out, there's no telling what it's going to be, because I mean you're losing quite a few cards from M15 to.
Yeah, but the cards that you're losing are almost always there's some form of that can replace it. Yeah, that can replace it. The hard thing to lose is going to be your Stoke of the Flames, because I really don't see them bringing something like that back. Because number one, I don't think Kavoke's coming back. Not for a while.
Yeah.
Kavoke destroyed the scene.
But the one deck that I wanted to see the green red aggro deck do well. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I've got a version of it that doesn't include a lot of the expensive cards. It's I got blue in there as well, so it's not really green red. But Hornet's Nest. I like Hornet's Nest a lot. I really wanted that to do well, and it just didn't get there.
Hornet's Nest is a good card, and it's in the Turbo Fog, the one that I personally like Turbo Flog. Turbo Fog. I think it's an interesting idea. I think it could go a long ways to just not necessarily always winning, but definitely pissing people off, and I kind of like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when we were talking about going to Loot and doing the Legacy. They had the Legacy tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about building just total
troll decks.
Yeah, troll decks full of uncounterable, undestroyable, and you can't. But you can't win. But you just mess with people. I like that idea, and I think Turbo Fog kind of speaks to that.
Yeah.
You're not going in there necessarily to win, but as long as you have that mindset, you'd be surprised how many games you could possibly win with that. So I like that idea.
The one thing that I was surprised was not seeing any green or blue-black control at all in the top 8.
Yeah, I saw it in the beginning, but it didn't make it to day 2.
It was the decks or the games that I saw. It just was too slow, and it was playing either the red, blue, and soul artifact deck, or was playing red aggro, and they're just not set up. I mean, you got Thoughtseize and stuff like that to take away their immediate threats, but with cards like the draw or exile top card, the red one, 2/1. I can't remember what's top. We just talked about it.
Abbott.
Yeah. So with that, you don't have to worry about having hand. You just play it. You get your card or whatever.
Get an extra card. Yeah.
Get an extra card. So.
Well, red also has the ability. Like they had the siege card, the one that lets them draw extra cards. Oh God, what the heck's the siege card? So for people who had that, I mean, they could play 2 cards at a time.
Is it a loot card?
No, it's you know how they have the white siege, the black siege, and all those.
Oh, yeah, Outpost Siege.
Outpost Siege, yeah. The people who had that in their sideboard, that was really kind of a smart move, because I mean that was such a powerful thing against the mirror matches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have extra burn.
I saw a ton of Roast. Roast is a really fun card to play. I don't
have any of those.
Not a lot of flying. I didn't see any. The only flying I saw came from Thopters. Not many dragons being played this Pro Tour.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Thopters, though. I think that they're finally getting their day, and I really kind of excited about that because, I I mean, Thopters. Anyone who's when they first started playing Magic, I mean, back in the day, you always had Thopters, and Thopters were always in everyone's deck because they were a 0-cost 0/2. I mean, they were great. And there's nothing more satisfying than somehow making your Thopter super immense and attacking for the win. It's kind of like in Birds of Paradise. You pile on a bunch of 1/1 counters and attack for the win, and you just killed your friend with a Birds of Paradise. I love that kind of stuff, which I think you know about that. So.
I don't like you. And then there's the Insole Artifact deck. Like, didn't see this one coming. I didn't think, and you would think with the artifact, or not the artifact, the Thopter love that the Origins brought to the table, you wouldn't really put the 2 and 2 together, but it really, and the thing is, most of this deck has already been in standard. Like, you got Ornithopter, you've got the Phyrexian Revoker. I mean, some of this stuff is not new. Like in Soul Artifact, these cards have been around for over a year. Shrapnel Blast, Mana Confluence. The only new stuff is a couple of these Thopter creators, which I guess makes when they come into play they make artifacts. But if you've got the artifact land, what is it called?
Darksteel Citadel.
Yeah, Darksteel Citadel. That's a good one. Springleaf Drum's a good target for it. I even saw people enchanting. Yeah. I mean, that's like a last ditch effort type of thing. But I mean, there's enough artifacts in there.
Not even last ditch. I mean, that's a turn 2 5/5 that's hard to deal with.
Right.
It's better if you have the Darksteel Citadel, but I mean, still.
Or the Ornithopter to give it flying.
Oh god.
I don't know what's worse, like flying 5/5 or indestructible 5/5, but either one.
I mean, the only thing that I could think of to kind of soak up the damage to try and last a little bit longer when you faced with a Sun 5/5 flying Thopter is, I mean, shit, really the Birds of Paradise, but of course we don't have that right now.
Right.
So we don't really have a 1-drop that we can throw down that's got flying that can. Well, I know you got the blue guy. What is it? Hypnotic Siren. That's got flying.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's. Who plays with that?
Right, and you have to have that's like seems like a turn, like a game 2 play after sideboard, because you're like, okay, well, I'm going to be on the play first, so I'm going to play this, the 1/1 flyer. So, but they're really.
And the problem with the Darksteel Citadel is that's extremely hard in the standard format right now to get rid of, because I'm trying to think of different things you have. I mean, you got Displacement Wave, but again, that's non-land permanent, so you can't return it because it still counts as a land.
Right, and you don't want to bounce the.
And what is Curse the Swine? Curse the Swine. I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of that could possibly deal with it, but I don't think they could.
Yeah, in my blue deck, the only thing that I've got to defend myself against is sudden something or other. I can't remember off the top of my head. Counter target non-creature spell unless they pay 1. If you control a creature that costs 4 or more, or that's 4 or more. Yeah.
What you could do though, but it would require white, is the Hallowed Moonlight. Which is I am excited to see what that's going to do in the Eternal formats or the modern. But when a creature comes into play, if it isn't cast, then it's gone, because technically in Soul Artifact it's coming into play, but you're not casting that creature. So then it comes into play, but it doesn't even come into play. It's exiled.
Right.
And that's a 2-drop spell at instant speed. So I mean that'd be a way to get rid of it. But you'd have to be the one who had you'd have to have the first turn land, have the second land out, and be able to cast it.
Right. So at that point you're taking doing your first turn, second turn, taking it off and waiting for the cast.
And there's not a lot of disenchant. I don't see hardly anybody playing with disenchant.
Right.
These days.
I was looking through. White has exile target. Enchantment or artifact, so that one would work pretty well. But yeah, I mean, especially since it's exile, so that would hit your Darksteel Citadels and stuff like that. So
the Citadel would still stay. Actually, would it? Because it's exiled, so it's in play. The creature would. See, I don't even think that would affect it now that I'm thinking about it, because the spell would still hit it. It would still enchant the land. The land's already in play.
Yeah, so
it just becomes a creature. God,
right.
that's
So
even worse.
all right. So as far as like exiling you wouldn't be able to exile the land. Well, because the land's an artifact, so you would be able to exile it. It's artifact land, so you.
Right, but how many exile spells do we have right now?
There's the one in white. It's a revoke spell. But yeah, it's one white, one colorless from Journey into Nyx.
Deicide?
No, Deicide gets enchantments.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, it's a tough nut to crack. I mean, luckily after we won't have to deal with it for a couple months, and then it'll phase out, and this whole deck will pretty much just be gone because there just won't be the insole portion of it.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it now.
What a thing. I'm trying to think here. I kind of had wanted to see maybe a mono green or like an actual true mono green deck, or even a mono black or mono blue again. Because I mean, we have the potential for those right now. I mean, you're building a mono blue deck that's actually looking pretty. Oh, revoke existence.
It's not an instant, but so you're gonna be hit for 5, but you can exile their land. Plus, then Insole Artifact goes away, obviously. But so then they'd be down a land. I mean, that would honestly, to tell you the truth, that would work out pretty. That's like a destroy target land type of thing. I don't know.
That's not a bad idea, actually. That's a good sideboard card, at least if you have white.
Right. But then again, you're still if they play that land turn 1 and then put a Witch Cult on top of it, you're gonna be taking 5. So there's really nothing you can do to stop that.
Yeah.
But
the one mix though I love those then Soul Artifact with the Hangerback Walker, because you play the Hangerback Walker, you have a 1/1 with the the Hangerback Walker with a 1/1 counter. Then you install Artifact on it. Now it's a 5/5 with a 1/1 counter. So you technically have a 6/6 by turn 3,
right.
And that's phenomenal. And even if they get rid of it somehow, you still have then an Ornithopter or a 1/1 flyer. At least, if not better.
That you can possibly target for another Shrapnel Blast.
Yes.
So like if you Shrapnel Blasted your hanger back and then got your token and then Shrapnel Blast that, like
16.
That's disgusting. Like
by turn 4, that's 16 damage you would have done. All to their face. That's awesome. I like that.
That is terrible. Thank God that this it's a well put together deck. Like I mean, and let's be honest, like it's one of those decks that isn't going to be around for very long in standard, and it's one of those where like, hey, I want to do the craziest thing possible. How about I deal you 5 damage on turn 2, 10 damage on turn 3, and then kill you on turn 4.
Well, at least it's better than Rally decks.
I'm surprised you didn't see more of that. I know it was in like a lot of decks there, but I'm surprised that a lot of
people
them
are prepared for it now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really all it is. People are just ready for it. I mean, we saw Phyrexian Revolkers.
That's going into my sideboard. Love that. Yeah,
I love that card. We saw just a lot of different kind of graveyard hate. I mean, Anafenza.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only reason she's there is to get rid of that, and that worked. It worked. It worked so well that we didn't see really on day 2 any version of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm kind of
well done. That did well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was an exciting tournament to watch. I didn't. The one thing that did sad me is that the finals went to the 5th game, but the one guy had to mull down to 3 or 4 or whatever.
Yeah, but he mulled down to 3, but look how long it took to kill him.
Right,
I mean, that's amazing. If he had have kept that 6 land or that 6 card hand, I mean, I think it would have been a completely different game.
Yeah, he did. I mean, the mulligans were justified. Like it would have been a very quick game, But
I
the
agree,
fact that
but I would never have gotten rid of that second.
Really?
Yeah, I would have actually kept that. I like that second hand. He had pretty much a whole bunch of stuff he could have played. He didn't have any like right away kills, but I think he had enough that he could have elongated the game.
Yeah.
And when you're playing blue, you're always looking at ways to elongate the game. And the one thing that I find interesting with the Install artifact is you're not trying to elongate the game. You're just trying to go in and
Right.
screw up somebody's face.
I didn't even look at their sideboard.
Yeah, I like Profane the Dead.
Thopter Spy Network, Wild Slash.
I don't have any of those.
So they did have some counter magic in their sideboard. I'm wondering what that would. I guess Disdainful is probably if the game goes long.
Right, if they're playing against a mid-range deck, or playing against Red Green Devotion.
Right.
So you got a lot of high casting cost spells. I mean, look at Genesis Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times have we seen in the past where Genesis Hydra is this immense monster? It's given definite value for the field. I think of my Sliver deck.
You gain 1 life for each colorless creature
Oh yeah,
you control.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Where the heck
Especially
that
for
come
that deck. Huh? That's cons.
I haven't.
It's an uncommon. Tomb of the Spirit Dragon. I actually have a couple of those.
I've never seen.
I don't
that
have
card.
the Wild Slashes or the
Oh,
claw thing.
the claw thing.
Yeah, claw thing.
Okay. I don't know. And the funny thing is, like, when you came over, you were talking about the binders or whatever I've got over there with my older card. Well, not older cards, like Ravnica and stuff. I haven't been buying a box or 2 boxes or whatever the past few sets. I've just been purchasing cards that I want to build a deck with. And I think I kind of like it that way. I don't got tons of extra cards all over the place. I'm kind of sad that I don't get to open packs. That's a lot of fun. But... And this is the kind of thing that happens. Is there's an uncommon or a common that you don't see because you're like, it didn't catch my eye the first time around, so I didn't.
Right, and I agree with you on that aspect. I kind of done the same thing this time. I went through and I picked out things that I wanted for a lot of different things. Like I picked up 3 of the Chandras when she was down to like $7. I picked up 3 Jaces when he was like $12,
which he's $40 now. Jeez.
That was a good. I love Jace. I picked up a couple of Gideons, which that no real price change in that. Yeah. But I picked up 4 of the Animist's Awakening, which I think is a fantastic card for modern. Because the ability, think about that the land deck, the Amulet Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have all that extra mana. Let's go ahead and empty out our land, and then we got nothing but spells. I like the idea of that. And then, the Mana Gorger Hydra. I'm really surprised we still haven't seen him at all.
Oh, I know, right? That is a little on the ridiculous side. Oh, hello. How about that? We're gonna close Twitch.
Your Twitch.
My bad.
Yeah, the Mana Gorger Hydra. He's fantastic.
I expect to see him make an appearance after we seek rotation, because he's just a disgusting card. Like, whenever you cast a spell, I mean
he's completely manageable initially, but you have to manage him when he first hits the floor. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Right. I think when we're done with Theros block and we move forward, I think I'm gonna build maybe like a blue-green deck with him.
Yeah.
And draw spells. And the thing is, blue-green with, having your opponents draw cards, like, yeah, draw all the cards you want, and then play them, and make him get bigger. Go for it. Do what you want to do, kind of thing. I don't know.
The blue deck I'm making is going to have the Sphinx's Toolage with Fascination. So, yes, draw a whole bunch of cards, and now mill.
Right.
And now mill.
Make their mana tap for double.
So
they can cast their spell.
Mana Flare. Oh my god, I could do that for a legacy deck. Oh, that's mean. That's mean.
Can you imagine what they're like? What are you doing? Why are you giving me all the and then you play this like, oh, now I see what you're doing. You have all the mana and you have all the cards.
That's a disgusting idea. I think I'm going to do that. So, Chris Bloom. The reason I built that deck that you're going to hate in the near future is this man.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But what else did you see? What else did you see on the tournament? Anything else? Because I think we've touched on all the big ones.
Yeah, I did see a game go from 20-1 to 20-0. The dude came back from at 1, came back and won the game. It was the red deck wins against, I think it was blue black control, and like the red deck wins had basically gone down to I think 4 or 5 cards like mulligan, and Thoughtseize, and he had control of the dude's hand like right off the bat, and all of a sudden like he was at 1 and he just played 3 or 4 spells and it was completely over from there. Like he had the creatures out to tap for Convoke, but yeah, it was. Amanda was sitting there watching me like, and I was like, oh, this guy's, hey, red deck wins isn't really that good. Look, he's getting his ass stomped. Like, and then he turned around and won. I'm like, oh well. That was impressive. Like I was honestly impressed, and I don't get impressed by red decks because it's a pretty boring, to me, a pretty boring deck to play. It's okay, I don't care what you're doing. I'm gonna play my game and that's it. But to see him come back from that was like, wow, that's kind of impressive. Like, and the dude was dead next turn. I mean, like the board state that was on the other side was there was just not enough burn in his deck to take care of all the creatures. He had no life, no way to gain life.
I don't think I saw that game.
I can't remember. I got to go back on. I'll find it and I'll post it. I can't remember what it was, but I was just like, really, this is how it's gonna be anyway. But yeah, no Hornet Queens.
I'm very surprised at that. I mean, it's such a good card, and I mean, you're right. It's gonna cycle out soon. I mean,
yeah.
It's definitely not a modern card.
No.
Not with whatchamacallit gone. Oh, what's that stupid? I really hated it so much that I was building a deck against it. Birthing Pod.
Oh yeah.
I hate that deck. Yeah.
Yeah, Hornet Queen's gone down quite a bit.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's right at the time when it's going to be cycling out.
That's insane.
The one thing I'm going to be sorry to see, though, are the gods. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of them. I really thought that they'd have more of a every one of them should have had more of a presence because they were all really decent. Well, except for the red-black one. I don't really care for that one. But we didn't see a lot of them.
Yeah.
Except in the mono-color decks.
Which is where they shined.
Yeah.
That's, and I think like the dual color ones, I mean, having devotion to those colors for 7, that's kind of high. Like I think 6 probably would have been a good one because like the monocolored were 5, and that was pretty good. That was pretty easy to get to.
Well, I mean, so Farika is probably the only one that's actually seen realistic play as the dual color, and rightly so. I mean, her ability is the most useful, and that's really why you'd want her.
Right.
Is to be you're the creatures that are in your graveyard. Unless you have a way to bring them back, she makes them useful again.
Right.
And so I could see why she was there. The blue black one, of course, I never saw the sky of tournaments, but
right.
He actually would have been really, really good in some sort of like wall deck. Like I know that there was a lot of people talking about like making wall decks where you can then with assault formation suddenly attack with them and make them really big and massive.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you have a bunch of walls that you're not needing anyways, and then you suddenly tap them and mill the holy crap out of your opponent,
right?
There's nothing more satisfying than that. Sometimes I think.
There's a lot of walls in blue black. Well, blue. If you added white in there, there's white walls in there that would do really well.
And then you have Secure the Waste. Do you secure the waste
to
on
bring
top
them
of
back?
Oh my god!
But
It'd
be a fun casual deck for sure. I mean, can you imagine like playing like a 4-player multiple? Yeah, like okay, everyone's gonna go ahead and mill 15, 20 cards at a turn.
Yeah. Can you use gods as commanders?
They're legendary, aren't they? No, they're not legendary.
Aren't they?
No, maybe they are legendary.
Yeah, they're legendary.
So you would be able to. But you wouldn't be able to have multiple colors because your commander's a single color. So you would have to have like a single color.
Not the dual ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. That's what we are talking about, isn't it? So the dual ones, you'd be able to have to. That's not a bad idea. A commander deck would be kind of fun. I see your wheels turning.
Yeah.
Shit.
You're welcome, Chris.
So I guess let's close out. We'll talk about what we're trying to put together for the 29th of August for Columbus. Talk about what type of games, what type of decks we're building, and all that stuff. Would you like to start, or?
Yeah. So I had an awesome black deck that was focused around Gary and a whole bunch of things back in the Ravnica set in beginning of the Theros and all that. And I really loved that deck, and it made a lot of people unhappy.
Which is making you happy.
Yeah, it makes me happy. So what I did was I really loved the idea of the Erebos' Titan. And it's worked out well so far. I had to finagle it a little bit. Like, I just got a whole bunch of mess in there that I don't really want right now. I like good sideboard cards, but not necessarily like first type of cards. But I've got so my one drop is the blood whatever champion. Let's see here.
Blood-soaked
champion. So he can't block, but realistically, I'm not looking for him to block. I'm looking for him to harass the opponent. Whether he kills him or not is kind of inconsequential to me. I'm just looking for them to have a response. They either have, are sending stuff my way, or they're trying to take care of that. And it's kind of like buying me time. So if they end up wasting a spell on it, that's fantastic for me. Because when I play black, I always like to utilize the whole aspect of it, the flavor aspect of it, which is just sacrifice, being willing to use your life total.
He comes back too, which is
he
nice.
Can, yeah, again, and it requires a response.
Right.
My 2-drop then is hopefully going to be Despoiler of Souls, which is a 3/1 that can't block.
Not a lot of blocking.
No, not.
But your instants and sorceries make up for that big time.
A little bit, yeah. He's really cool. 3/1 attacks and he gets destroyed or returned to my library, whatever. But if he makes it to the graveyard, then I can utilize him again by just exiling 2 creatures from my graveyard, and he comes back to play. Realistically, I'm not ever going to try and utilize that aspect of him, but it makes the opponent think.
Right.
And
well, and if you ever need to get that extra bit of damage in after you wipe the board, like you need to hit him for like 2 more, or what? He's a 3/1, isn't he?
He's a 3/1.
Yeah. So if you need him for 3 more, or heck, even 6 more, or whatever, you can, exile 2 of your worst creatures and bring him back and swing.
Maybe I really kind of I don't think I'd really bring him in because the Erebos' Titans I love the aspect of them, and they're so much fun because it's hard for the opponents to really do anything. Like when we play each other, it's hard for you to do anything about them unless you get rid of them in the beginning. But really, they're only there for devotion. That's the funny thing about them. Like people have or people need responses for them, but they're only there for the devotion. You of course have 2 Ereboses, which I never actually get to attack with him. But since we've lost Pack Rat and Underworld Connections, he's still the card draw. He's my little bit of greed, and I really value him for that aspect. Yeah, he stops the opponents from gaining life, but realistically, that's not something I'm terribly concerned with.
Yeah, that's not
when he comes out, anyways.
Yeah.
Then there's always Gary. I love Gary. Gary's
I can't
great.
wait till he's gone. I cannot wait.
They're reprinting him.
No.
They're reprinting him.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Gary's
like
cool.
That.
So we all know what Gary does. Blah blah blah. My original conception was going to have 2 Mogus's Marauders in it. I still haven't put those in. I don't know if I will. I like the idea that devotion you make everything have haste and attack, but I don't think I'm actually going to put those in. Instead, what I put in were 2 Graveblade Marauders, which are from the new set. They've got Death Touch, and when they attack and they deal damage, they then deal damage equal to the amount of creatures you have in your graveyard.
Is that everybody's graveyard or just
no,
yours?
just yours.
Just yours.
And then I have
disgusting.
2 or 3 Night Howlers in there, which Night Howlers are bestow. And they basically give you 1/1 counters for as many creatures there in all the graveyards.
Right.
So you bestow that onto the Marauder, and he's way cooler.
Way cooler.
Yeah, way cooler. Corexes of Fate, so of course I've got 2 of those in there, and then I was gonna have 4 languishes, but my 4th languish is the pre-release one, so I kind of hesitate putting that in the deck right now. I probably will, because languish has really been helpful. The only thing I think it would not help against is, again, Soul Artifact.
Yeah, because there's not. I mean, unless you get to a late game where there's a ton of ornithopters or not or thopter tokens, like that's the only. And in that case, then you've got Drown in Sorrow and
that's in my sideboard. I got 2 Bioblights, so
Bioblights is another one. That would be. I mean, that's 2 mana cheaper and kills thopters without hesitation, right? So it's 2 damage, -2, -2.
Yeah. The Whip of Erebos, of course, is my life gain, which would be valuable against red deck wins. The only problem is I don't think it's fast enough for that. I mean, for such a reactive deck, I'm going to be interested to see how that goes. The only thing I don't have any of is a sideboard. My idea for the sideboard is going to be 4 Thought Seizes, maybe a couple of infinite obliterations, because I love the aspect of a lobotomy. I love lobotomying threats. But because it's only a creature card, that kind of limits it a little bit.
That's
the only thing I like for red deck wins. I guess I would try to get rid of the abbots, because late game those are an ass to deal with.
You can get rid of Siege Rhino would be a good one to get rid of. That thing usually comes down and does some damage, especially since that gets around your Languish and your other removal. I mean, well, not Hero's Downfall, obviously, so that way you can keep your Hero's Downfall for other threats. But that's a 4 of an everyone's deck. Like, yeah. Maybe
I'll put in Phyrexian Revokers, because I mean that would be probably a good sideboard card for that. I almost want to make it a black blue, but I feel I'll lose too much doing that. I think it's pretty well grounded right now. I'll just keep playtesting it. I've got a lot of land in it though. I've got 2 Nykthos and like 21 or 22 swamps. But it's I don't know. It tends to work out well so far. But again, I haven't practiced against a red deck wins kind of thing. So that's where my majority of my focus is right now.
Well, yeah, I sleeved up proxy cards for that, so we'll definitely that and Soul Artifact and then Aspen, so we can get some reps in and figure out. And really, it's probably mostly sideboard what we're gonna sideboard in for those decks, because people are gonna play them. Like that's just like
The one thing I'm kind of sad that I don't have any of are the Lilianas. I wish I could put Liliana in there, but I didn't pull any, and I wasn't about to buy them. I mean, she was always expensive anyways.
How much is she going for now?
Like 20 something.
Jeez.
The one that I still don't understand why she's so expensive is Nissa. I want 4 Nissas for my Tooth and Nail deck. But Nissa's
wrong one.
I wish she was that expensive. Yeah. Wow.
Right.
There's no reason she's that expensive. I just because you don't even see her in the tournaments that often.
Yeah,
she's good, but not that good.
The one card shop in here in Dayton that I go to quite a bit. They've got a promo foil one from the pre-release that's stamped, going for $65, I believe. That's ridiculous. Like, holy cow.
Yeah. The only other card I was thinking about putting in my black deck was the Mana Rig Network. Because I like the idea of tapping and like charging land. I think that's valuable, but realistically, for what I'm trying to do, I don't really. I just couldn't justify that kind of land.
Is that the colorless one?
Yeah,
the ring thing or whatever.
Yeah, Mana Ring Network.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the black deck. I'm still working on it. I like to see what I can do. Whether it can make my friends cry is what I like to do. So I'm talking to you, Jesse. Yeah.
Oh, poor Jess.
I know, poor Jess. You. All right, so tell me about your mono blue deck.
So it's going through quite a bit of changes. I think I've got a pretty good set on my main board. As far as creatures, it's pretty heavy on the creatures. I've got 27 creatures in there. I finally got it up to 22 land. I've got 3 Nykthos in hopes to drop 1, tap it, drop a second, and tap it, and kind of go off like that with extra amounts of mana.
It's a risky move. I mean, it's definitely I can see the value in it. Also a little bit of flavor, but it is risky.
Right.
I like it though.
So to stop early threats, my turn 1 and turn 2 is a lot of fun. Turn 1, Vortex Elemental, which doesn't see any play except for the last time I played against it was when we had a tournament here at the house, and Nick played it, and I had no clue what it did, and it did a lot of work, and then it did a lot of work when he was playing the person sitting next to me, and I was like, oh, that's gonna suck when you attack into that, or when you try to block that. And the nice thing is I can actually get this thing to attack now, because I think I'm gonna actually main deck 4 cloud forms, or at least 2. The reason why is the 2 targets that I'm going to go for are either not targets, I guess by luck manifesting, is the Vortex Elemental, so then it'll have Hexproof and Haste, or my Frostwalker, Hexproof and Flying. So Frostwalker would be a good target, as it would be a 4/1 Hexproof, which would negate its whole downfall of being a 2-drop 4/1 of not being able to be targeted by a spell or ability, and then having to sack it. So 4/1 on turn 3 attacking, not too shabby.
Yeah, I think that would still stay in play because it's already on it.
Right.
It's not like you're giving it protection, so that is a clever way of cheating the system.
Right. And
blue.
And the nice thing is it adds to devotion. So that's kind of the one thing that's going for. So like, when I manifest these cards, it's going to give me an extra pip or extra 2 pips on most of my cards. Harbinger of the Tides is a good one. Does not do very good work against red deck wins, so that one's definitely coming out for sure. I'll probably side because I've got the Mizium Meddlers. So yeah, on red deck wins, I've got 4 of those coming in, and the Harbingers are coming out, obviously, to negate the stupid uncounterable
exclusive fire card. That's actually a clever way of getting rid of it.
Which the only thing that sucks is the dude will die, like, because he's only a 2/4, or no, he's a 1/4, so he will die, which is sad. But that's what he's meant to do, is to counter that spell.
That's a clever way.
So
the Harbingers, though, I could see their somewhat of the value, but I mean the only caution, like with the red deck wins, like you're thinking, would be the pile driver, honestly, because that would be something that. But thankfully, nobody's been playing it, so I guess we don't have to worry about that right now.
I did see a couple pile drivers in there, but that wasn't really. They called it red aggro, but like it
was goblins.
It was goblins. Like it was. They had.
I still like the Harbinger. I think the Harbinger is going to be mainly a modern-esque card. But, I really like what it does. I really kind of hope that with the next set you'll see more Merfolk.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping so. I hope so. Short Crasher Elemental is disgusting. It's a lot of fun. Not quite as good as... God, what was the Ravnica version of this? I can't remember. It cost like
Spectre?
No, it cost 6.
Cost 6.
As a creature you could flip, and you could give it plus. It's the same thing. I can't remember. It started with an A. Ether something. I can't remember his name. I really can't. Ether something. I can't remember his name. You played with him quite a bit.
Did I?
Yeah.
Is he in my old?
He's in your old blue-black deck, or
okay.
blue-white. He played a lot in blue-white. He was a finisher in blue-white. I can't remember what his name was. Ether something. Ether Shroud Sprite. Give him. I don't think you could give him hexproof. You could flash him though. He's a 4/5.
Blue-white deck.
But
I had a blue-white deck.
Yeah, when you had Jace, that Jace deck.
Which? Well, everyone decks have Jason.
That's true. I don't know. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. It's making for terrible radio.
Watch as we check our phones, trying to figure out what this god-blinking creature was.
You know what? Fuck it. I will. There goes all my sleeves. I will.
I didn't do it.
Return to Ravnica. It was right there. No.
In the empty spot. Empty spot.
I don't know what it was called. Oh, you played with it so much. It was such a great card. I don't know now.
God, that's really bad.
Etherling.
Oh, Etherling.
There we go.
Oh.
Etherling.
Oh, yeah. I guess you could see him as Etherling because he does blink out. He is only 3/3, but he can build upon himself. Is he an elemental?
He is an elemental.
Oh, well, that's going to become important soon.
Right. So, and and to tell you the truth, the thing that I never thought I would do is use his first ability and then megamorph him, like, because he has megamorph, so that it makes him become a 4/4. So that was very important when I was playing against Red Deck Wins. Was she would target him, I'd flip him, and then megamorph him back, and he would be then 4/4.
Wow, that's actually. So I wonder if, like, in the tournament setting, if they'd even bother targeting it because of that. They'd have to wait until you tap out.
Right. That's kind of like what so far, I've only tested for 2 days, but what I've tested is I have to play him on turn 4. I can't play turn 3. He's immediate threat. Like, he will the 3 damage. And the thing is, most of their damage spells are 3 damage, except for like Wild Slash and like I think there's another 2 damage target creature or something like that. I don't know.
Not very many anymore. I mean,
Yeah, so there's a lot of 3 and 4 man, and then obviously like Roast and shit like that does a lot of work. Bioblight, Thassa is the next. I got two copies of Thassa, which scrying is fun, but being able to target with Nykthos, being able to target like 3 or 4 of my big creatures and swing in for lethal for unblockable has proven to be possible and a lot of fun. Master of Waves, of course, is the last one that is really needed in this set or in this deck. But as far as counter magic goes, they kind of like bounce back and forth. I got Ojutai and Icefall region in there as well.
I like their Icefall regions. I think they're expensive, but they're definitely valuable in the aspect of slowing down the game.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely require me to do something, and they're a pain in the butt to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
But
the 3 defense really sucks. That's if they would have made that 4, it would have been a little bit better.
Against the Red Deck Wins, though, that would be a pain in the ass.
It is very difficult. Amanda definitely paid when we were playing. She paid extra mana to burn the shit out of it. So, and I mean, and the thing was, she had 2 to the Prowess 1-drop creatures, Monastery Swiftspear. So of course I've got one of those tapped down, and of course she's not going to attack into this thing. So she, burned it. I'll pay extra and then, swing in for a couple extra points of damage. But I don't know. The one thing that's been changing in this deck quite a bit is my control magic. So right now I'm sitting on Stubborn Denial. That's the spell that I want to use to get rid of Ensoul Artifact. Counter target non-creature spell unless its caster pays 1, and then it costs 1 blue. And then Ferocious, it can't be. If I control 4 or more, you just counter that spell, period. So I've got 3 of those, and I'm running 3 Silumgar Scorn. That's the 2 blue counter target spell. You may reveal a dragon card, or if you control a dragon, it just can't. It's countered. So I think those are the 2 main ones that I'm running. I've got a few negates and Thassa's rebuff. I originally started with 4 Thassa's rebuff, but quickly dropped that down because in the early game or versus like a quick, a good black deck that gets rid of creature spells or creatures, it's tough.
I like the Devotion counterspell to some extent, but I think the Clash of Wills is a better one.
You think so?
Yeah, I like the what was it? Where it was not Mana Drain. That's hard. Not Mana Drain. God, it's been so long since I've seen it. Blue X, they have to pay X. But I like that kind of counterspell.
The one that you're talking about that cycled out, didn't it?
It's old. I
think it's in Modern.
Is it?
I think it's in Modern. I'm pretty sure.
I'll think of it later.
Spell Blast?
Is it Spell Blast? Maybe Spell Blast.
But
wait, I think Spell Blast is
Clash of Wills.
Yeah, I like Clash of Wills.
Spell Blast. I think it's Spell Blast.
Yeah, it is Spell Blast. Oh, good job, Joe. Way to use your memory.
It's a pretty terrible memory. Or is it Syncopate?
No, I like Syncopate.
I like Syncopate.
Syncopate was fun. One
It's a
thing
good way to get rid of shit too.
I mean, you got a lot of control, and I like that aspect of the counter spells. What I think though you could utilize is more card draw, and unfortunately there's just not a lot that we have right now. I mean, you have the blue siege. I can't think what that's called, but the dictative crew fix, like the blue deck I'm building. Like I'm kind of making my own mono blue deck. I'm just not going to play very much of it, I don't think, right now, because it's got dictates of crew fix in there to flash in and draw next card. Yeah, my opponent gets a draw, but I don't really care about that. I'm also going to have displacement waves to kind of wipe the field over and over again.
I like displacement field or wave, not field. Monastery siege. I don't even know what it does. Draw at the beginning of your draw step. Draw an additional card, then discard a card. Or if you choose dragons, your opponent's cast. Oh wow, that's nice.
The plus the spells costed initial too. That would definitely help against red deck wins. I think it's the only thing that my version would be able to do.
Right.
I mean, I've got 4 hanger back walkers in there, but I don't know.
Yeah, my biggest thing right now, and like I said, my sideboard and control magic's really the only thing changing. But I think I found a pretty good mix of creatures and control magic. I'm not going to change that much, but I have problems with life. I have problems with life. Like, I have no way of gaining life, so I'm thinking the Nyx Fleece Rams, but I don't.
That'd be good.
I don't know. Like, blue has a horrible selection of gain life. Like, absolutely, like, terrible. I don't want to add in, like, the tap lands gain 1 life because that just slows me down.
Right.
I'm even to the point where I'm not even adding in the scry lands because I need that mana to control the beginning of the game. Because what ends up happening is if I start playing spells at the beginning, like, I can put my turn 1 down, but from turn 2 to turn 4, if I'm playing creatures without, like, protection, then I just get wiped out. So it's really me just controlling turn 2, 3, 4, and then turn 5 is when I start playing again. But
I don't know. I don't know what you could do to do the life gain. I mean, we can look in a little bit more into that. But I like your counter spells, and I love your sideboard. I love the Mizium Meddler. I love the Ojutai's Command, which
I just ordered 2 of those, so they're coming in the mail.
I've got like 5.
Yeah, they were 50 cents.
Oh, did you buy the regular one? I like the special art one. I think that's kind of cool looking. I don't know. There's a lot of things we can do. We can keep working on it, but yeah.
But I mean, and the thing is, like, if because is Nyx Fleece Ram, is that a 1-drop or 2-drop?
It's a 2-drop.
Okay.
It's a white and 1.
White and 1.
And it's a 0/4, but I mean, even red deck wins can get rid of that.
I think it's a 0/5, isn't it a 0/5?
I thought it was 0/4. Is it 0/4?
I don't know, but yeah, whatever it is, I mean, it's still like it's gonna stop. I mean, it's gonna be a target right off the bat. But if you get down early enough, you're going to be able to.
Yeah, blue white. Have you thought about what the heck's the chick's name? Narset's Planeswalker version.
I did actually. The only thing that, I mean, obviously the middle ability isn't going to do much for me because of all my spells, non-creature spells are counter magic.
Right.
So rebound's not going to do jack.
Do you still not? Did you take out the anticipates?
I did.
Oh wow.
I did. So just not enough room.
Yeah. But I mean, you could still utilize that -2 to do 2 dig through times.
This is true. I'm kind of playing with the idea between dig through time, like 1 dig through time, 1 treasure cruise, or 2 dig through times.
What about the Blue Jays, the new one?
I'm not spending $40 on a single card.
I didn't spend $40 on a single card.
I know you didn't, but now that card is $40.
Oh. What about,
he would be a good addition.
What about the dictates?
I do like the dictates.
I mean, that might be something we can think about.
And it's 2 blue, so it helps with devotion. And it's flash, so that plays into my whole turn 1, play my 1-drop, and then turn 2, 3, 4, hold mana up for counter spells. So if they don't play anything on turn 3, I can flash it into your turn and use that mana, and then I get the first instance of draw card. It's got flash, right? I'm not retarded. Okay.
What about Mana Rig Network for your deck? Like, instead of 3 shrines, you could do 1 of that.
What is it called? Mana Rig. Oh, you got it right there.
Mana Rig Network. I mean, it's a charge land,
Right.
and right now there's not a lot that people play with that would be able to destroy it. You could definitely build up the.
And you don't have to destroy the land either. You
No,
can keep using it.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
it's
nice.
like it's a battery, mana battery.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's slow, but I mean, if you're not using the mana anyways, it's a place to put it.
Yeah, this is true. And for spells like Dig Through Time, so like if I'm not countering spells and putting that counters on it, obviously I'm not filling my graveyard, so Dig Through Time is going to cost me 8.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. So.
And of course, you've got the Obelisk of Ood. Ood. Why am I saying Ood? That's a Doctor Who reference.
But yeah, so I mean
That's disgusting.
And the elementals in here is I got what? 4, 8, 12 elementals, which is not too bad.
Where's your super cute annoying card? Did you take him out? You took out the clone.
I did.
Wow.
I did. He's talking about these instant 3 blue not counter. He put an emblem, not an emblem, a token in the play. Oh, he's right there. Yeah.
Faded in infatuation.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think you'd take that out.
Yeah, I know. I really liked it, and it helped out a lot with Master the Waves, because like the first thing that would always happen is Master Waves would be destroyed, and then I'd lose all my tokens, unless I of course had the Erd out, the Obelisk, in which some cases it still would kill them because they were 4/3s. So I don't know. The stack of my cards that are going in and out is getting bigger and bigger. It's almost bigger than my deck at this point because I've tried so many different versions of it. So it might still make an appearance. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just trying to figure out what I would take out in replace of it. I mean,
we'll play around with it.
I like the Icefall Regents just because it's evasion, taps creatures down.
It's an annoyance. It requires a response.
It's a good win condition to help get things through.
And how much is it to put out in the field? 5?
5.
If only it was one last, that would make it a little bit.
Which and I'm playing it earlier with Shrine to Nykthos. Yeah, Nykthos. So I'm playing it earlier than turn 5, which is nice. But it's just one of those things. If I put the faded cards in, I need to have a card in play, for otherwise it's a dead card in my hand, and that's the one thing that's kind of got me stuck. Like, well, I could put a creature in when I hit, I don't know. So
I like it.
We still got plenty of time to test, and I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll be back not next week. The podcast is gonna be every other week on Tuesdays, roughly about 8:00. Holy shit, we've been talking for an hour and a half.
I thought it was an hour and 3 minutes.
Oh, was it an hour and 3 minutes? We must have got started late. That's okay. But we'll come back not this week. We'll do some testing this week, and then we'll come back next week. We'll talk about what changes we've made.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna be doing a lot. Like I said, I put.
We'll wear silly hats.
We'll wear silly hats. We'll have some better graphics on screen because right now I don't have any graphics, which is kind of crap. I don't have anything on there. Nick will dance. We'll talk about what changes we made. We'll talk about what we did versus the 3 decks that I proxied. I want to keep an eye on Magic Online and see what decks emerge from this tournament.
Yeah, I'm still holding strong. I keep getting drawn into the idea of doing Magic Online, but it's just not worth it, I don't think. Outside of the ability to freely play, I mean, you're paying money for intangible things.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I do like. I mean, there's a couple things. I mean, if I was into draft a lot more, I definitely would see the benefit to drafting.
Oh yeah.
The nice thing is you don't have to buy more than 4 of a card if you want, a play set, because you can use the same card in multiple decks. So no more pink sleeves for every deck, so you can easily swap cards out.
That actually has multiple benefits, because now there's no way that when I pull out a deck, you don't know what it is, and I think that's That's been very beneficial. I think I'm going to make every one of my decks pink sleeves, and I think that's going to be nothing but tears for people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess this is a good first episode. So I think we'll be back. We'll be back on August 18th. You can check us out. We've got a new. Well, I guess it's not really new. Our 72 DPI online YouTube page. We've had it for quite a while, just never used it. But yeah, now we're going to use it. So this video, all our videos are going to go up there. Ball and Chain Podcast, which Angel and I will stream tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, will go up there. So it's going to be kind of like the center hub for all of our 72 DPI videos and stuff like that. So you can watch any of our podcasts live at twitch.tv/BC podcast. It's not mana drained, but it's the one I got, so it works.
I'll take it.
It works. So yeah, we'll be back not next week, but it's the week after, August 18th. Go blue and white.
Go blue.
Go blue.